My mom texted, "Please don't come. The family wants a drama-free wedding. My sister liked it." I replied, "Great choice, then you'll be free of my payments too." The chat flooded with laughter and, "My name is Ida Mack, I'm 30, and I used to believe that if you gave enough money, effort, forgiveness, family would eventually see your worth." That belief died the moment I saw a text from my mother at 5:02 p.m. on Thursday. "Mom, please don't come. The family wants a drama-free wedding. No punctuation, no hesitation, just a clean, deliberate cut." I sat in my car outside my office, the engine still running, the hum filling the silence between the words that weren't there. No explanation, no sorry, no kindness. Then my phone buzzed again. My sister liked the message. I stared at that tiny heart icon for a long time. It didn't sting. Not yet. It just confirmed what had been quietly building for years. They didn't want me there. They just wanted what I provided. I'd paid for everything. The venue deposit, the catering, the photographer, the DJ, the hotel block, even that ridiculous custom flower arch my sister cried over when she saw it on Pinterest. More than $38,000 spent, and that didn't include dress fittings or the last-minute extras she kept forgetting to mention. And now I was being told I wasn't welcome. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I went cold. Focused. Precise. I took a screenshot of the text and sent it to my sister. "Me, you can't be serious. Sister, good decision." That was it. 2 words that landed like the last nail in a coffin. Fine, I thought. If I'm not invited, I'm not paying. I opened the family group chat, the one full of cousins and aunts who mostly pop up to gossip or brag about who's having twins, and typed, "Then you'll be free of my payments too." For a few seconds, nothing. Then the typing bubbles popped up like sparks. My cousin sent a laughing emoji. Aunt Carla wrote, "Wait, what's happening?" Someone posted a meme. My sister's bridal photo with the caption, "Guess who's not paying now? Not Ida." I didn't reply. I didn't have to. By midnight, the laughter turned to unease. Someone must have told them I was serious. I ignored my mom's calls, then my sister's. Let them both go to voicemail. Instead, I pulled out the binder. A thick white one with tabs for every contract, receipt, and vendor email. It was the kind of thing you build when you expect to be the reliable one, when you assume your trust will be honored. I laid it on the kitchen counter. The sound it made was heavier than paper should ever sound. The first call I made was to the venue, straight to voicemail. Then I followed up with an email, subject line, "Cancellation, urgent, contract holder, Ida Mack." The owner replied within 30 minutes, "Confirmed, canceled." Since the contract was under my name, they couldn't do a thing about it. Next was catering. Then the hotel block. One by one, every reservation fell apart like a domino run. By 2:07 a.m., the entire wedding was gone. Not out of spite, but because they'd uninvited the person holding the foundation together. Halfway through it, my phone lit up with a message from my boyfriend, Evan. "Evan, proud of your boundary." I told him about the text, about how numb it felt. He asked if I was okay, if I'd eaten. Then he said something that would stick with me longer than any apology from my family ever could. "Evan, you're not the drama, Ida, you're the scaffolding. And they just told you to walk off the site." That's the kind of sentence that anchors you when the floor gives out. I didn't mention his ex, Nina, the one who still liked my sister's posts, who'd sent me a perfectly punctuated, "Congrats on the wedding plans," message that reeked of quiet condescension. Nina was the kind of person who smiled while collecting information. I could sense her watching from somewhere, waiting for something to implode. I made another call. Valerie, the florist. I told her the bride had uninvited me, and that the card on file would be disabled. She paused, then asked softly, "So the wedding's going down in flames?" I said, "They wanted a stress-free wedding. I'm just giving them what they asked for." Valerie laughed. "You're right, I'm out. I'll post a refund notice on my socials. Thanks for the warning." Another domino fell. Then I called Brian, the photographer, a college friend who'd offered a discounted shoot out of loyalty. "Do you still want to go through with it?" he asked. "No," I said, "we're done." He was quiet for a second. Then, "Want to do a shoot for yourself Sunday? Something fun?" I actually smiled. "Yeah, let's do that." At 1:05 p.m. Friday, a group email from the caterer landed in my inbox. Who should we invoice? It asked. Addressed to Mom, my sister and me. I didn't answer. But Derek, my sister's fiancé, did. Derek, we were under the impression everything was already paid. The caterer responded within minutes. The person paying was told not to attend. That sentence, that truth, was cleaner than revenge. It was justice wrapped in professionalism. By late afternoon, the DJ quit too. I hadn't even called him. He'd realized no one confirmed the final playlist or payment, so he bailed. Posted a vague tweet about ungrateful clients and ghosted invoices. My cousin screenshotted it immediately. By evening, the guilt parade began. Mom, you're hurting your sister for no reason. This is childish, Aunt Carla. At least let the florist go through. The flowers are her dream. Dad, this is beneath you, Ida. Beneath me. That was the phrase they always used when I finally stopped letting them step on me. They still didn't get it. I hadn't canceled their wedding to be cruel. I canceled it because they kicked me out of it. I had been the fallback, the lender, the quiet solution to every crisis they created. And for once, I wanted the silence of not being used. At 8:45 a.m. Friday, my cousin texted, "They're here. The venue's locked. The place looks abandoned." Mom and my sister stood outside, makeup done, hair curled, talking to the locked doors, like the doors were going to change their minds. Between 9.12 and 9.27, Mom called 8 times. I let every ring echo into nothing. At 9:41, my sister posted a story, now deleted, that said, "Some people are so bitter. You'll never ruin my day." Strange, for someone whose day had no tables, no guests, and no venue. But they thought that was the worst. They were wrong. Because when you spend your life treating someone like a side character, you forget that they might be the one holding the entire script. And I had just started editing. Friday morning arrived, soft and gray. The kind of light that makes everything look a little like regret. I hadn't slept. Not really. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that text again. Please don't come. Except now, it had faces. My mother's forced smile. My sister's smug like, and all the years they'd made me the invisible helper behind every good thing they claimed as their own. At 8:45 a.m., my cousin Megan texted me play-by-play updates from the venue parking lot. Megan, they're both here. Full glam. Mom looks like she's about to faint. Megan, the sign says closed until further notice. Megan, they're arguing with the gate. I almost laughed. Almost. By 9 o'clock, my mom had called 5 times. By 9.20, it was 8. At 9.41, my sister posted that story. Some people are so bitter. You'll never ruin my day. The comments under it were exactly what I expected. Heart emojis. You deserve better. Don't let jealousy win. People who had no idea the jealous sister was the one who'd funded the entire thing. I deleted Instagram for the day. I didn't need to watch people cheer for my erasure. By 11 a.m., the group chat was chaos. Some cousins demanded answers. Others tried to stay neutral. Aunt Lorraine wrote, "Maybe Ida overreacted? Weddings are stressful." I typed a reply and deleted it twice before finally sending. Stress doesn't cause someone to write, "Please don't come." Silence followed. The kind that means everyone read it and decided to stay out of it. I closed my phone, made coffee and stared at the binder, still open on the counter. Each canceled receipt was a small act of liberation. But I knew my family. They wouldn't see this as boundaries. They'd see it as betrayal. They'd paint me as vindictive, unstable, the problem child who finally snapped. By noon, my mother sent a new text. "You're hurting your sister for no reason. This is childish. We can forgive this if you fix it. Forgive me." That word was almost funny. They'd uninvited me, humiliated me, used my money, and they wanted me to apologize for enforcing reality. I didn't respond. Instead, I called the florist Valerie again, told her to pull out of everything completely. She sighed. "Honestly, I was waiting for you to say that. It's bad PR for me to work with that family now." "Don't worry, Ida. I'll post a refund notice this afternoon." Another domino fell. Quiet, inevitable. Next, the DJ. I hadn't spoken to him directly, but I didn't need to. His tweet was already making rounds. "If you ghost your vendors, Expect your wedding to ghost you. Underneath were comments guessing which bride it was. A few cousins messaged me privately, confirming it was my sister. The irony burned sweet and cold. By 2 p.m., the wedding website was still live. I logged in. One click. Unpublish. A white screen appeared. Error 404. Page not found. Next, the shuttle company. Hi, this is Ida Mack, contract holder. The event is cancelled. Please don't send any buses tomorrow. They asked if I wanted to transfer the reservation. No, I said, cancel everything. The representative hesitated. Understood, Ms. Mack. We'll process the refund within 48 hours. I thanked her, hung up, and exhaled. I imagined the guests checking the website tomorrow. The panic as they realized there was no schedule, no address, no wedding. They wanted a drama-free wedding. Well, they got the free part. Around 4 p.m., Evan came over after work. He took one look at me and said quietly, "You look calm." That's scarier than angry. I smiled faintly. I guess I ran out of anger. He wrapped his arms around me, steady and warm. "You did the right thing," he murmured. "Did I?" I whispered. He nodded. "They taught you to equate loyalty with servitude. You finally broke that lesson." For a moment, I let myself lean into him, safe in that small apartment where no one demanded anything from me. But then my phone buzzed again. A name I didn't expect, Nina. Evan's ex. The preview of her message showed only a few words. "Hey, just so you know, your sister's been venting online. People are saying you lost it." I didn't open it. Not because I didn't care, but because I knew Nina, the woman who weaponized concern. She didn't send warnings, she sent bait. Evan saw the name flash across the screen, his jaw tightened. "You can block her." "I know," I said, setting the phone face down. "But I want to see how far they'll go." He sighed. "Ida, don't let them turn this into a circus." I smiled. "Oh, I'm not joining their circus. I'm taking away the tent." That night the house was too quiet. I made tea, watched the rain streak across the window, and wondered when my family started. Loving the version of me that could be used and fearing the one that couldn't. At 7:03 p.m., Mom called again, voicemail. Her tone was softer this time. Reverse sympathy wrapped in guilt. "We can still fix this, Ida. Your sister's devastated. This doesn't have to go viral. Please think of the family." Viral. That's what she was worried about. Not the betrayal. Not the forged kindness. Just reputation. I closed my eyes and said it out loud to the empty kitchen. "I'm thinking of the family. Just not the way they want me to." Before bed, I checked the weather. Saturday was forecasted to be bright, cloudless, and perfect. The kind of day people say is made for weddings. It felt almost poetic. Because tomorrow, while they stood in that sunlight trying to fake a celebration, I'd be pulling the last string, holding their illusion together. Tomorrow, they'd finally see what happens when you mistake someone's generosity for weakness. Saturday morning arrived quiet. Too quiet for a day that was supposed to host 120 guests, a white tent, and a string quartet. I woke up around 7, sunlight creeping through the blinds like a slow interrogation. My phone was already vibrating. Missed calls. Texts. A dozen voicemails. The wedding day. The day they thought I'd fix everything. Instead, I brewed coffee. No chaos. No panic. Just the stillness that comes when you've already lived through the explosion. By 9:15 a.m., a cousin texted me from the hotel. "Cousin Jen. No one's at the venue. Shuttle never showed. People are freaking out." I didn't reply. At 10:30, the first out-of-state guests began posting their confusion online. Hashtags. Photos. "What happened to the Mac Thompson wedding?" Comments. The replies ranged from sympathy to gossip. Mom and my sister had gone silent across every platform. When they're quiet, they're plotting. But I'd planned farther. At 11:02, someone knocked on my door. 3 slow knocks. Familiar rhythm. When I opened it, Mom stood there holding something white and beaded across her arms. My sister's wedding dress. Her lipstick was the wrong shade. Her expression the same one she used at funerals. "Can we at least get a few photos?" she asked softly. "Just something for her to post." We can fake the rest later. There it was. Not remorse. Optics. I stared at her. You came here for pictures? I came here for peace, she said quickly. Please, Ida. Let's not make this worse. I let her words hang in the air like smoke. Then I reached out, took the dress from her arms and said, I'll see what I can do. She looked relieved. Thank you. I knew you'd understand. Then she turned, heels clicking, and left. I closed the door. For a full minute, I just stood there, staring at the satin pooling at my feet. It wasn't rage I felt. It was detachment, like looking at an artifact from a life I no longer lived. 10 minutes later, I carried the dress outside and dropped it gently into the dumpster behind my building. No flourish, no dramatic speech. Just gravity doing its job. Back inside, I opened my laptop, typed a new email. Subject to everyone who was supposed to be at the wedding today. Inside I wrote, I was uninvited 2 days ago after paying for nearly every part of this event. Since my presence wasn't wanted, I canceled the contracts under my name. No drama, just facts. Attached, receipts, screenshots, and the original text from my mother. If anyone wants their side heard, my inbox is open. I hit send to 27 addresses. Family, vendors, even a few of Derek's relatives. Within half an hour the replies began. Shock, sympathy. One stood out. Derek? My sister's fiancé. Ida. I had no idea you were uninvited. Your mom told me you'd backed out from stress. Also, she gave me an envelope last night, said to keep it safe. When everything fell apart, I opened it. There's a check inside. $12,000. With your name signed on it? Thought you should know. I froze. $12,000. I hadn't written that check. I went to my desk drawer. My checkbook was there, minus one slip I'd lost months ago. My throat tightened. She hadn't just erased me. She tried to cash me. Mom had forged my signature. Planned to use the check after the dust settled, when everyone assumed I'd forgiven her. I typed back to Derek. Burn it. Don't mail it. Don't keep it. He replied a few minutes later. Done. I sat back in my chair. My hands were shaking. Not from fear, but from clarity. This wasn't family tension anymore. This was fraud. And I had proof. Evan came by around noon. He found me sitting on the floor, laptop open, surrounded by receipts and printed emails. Ida, he said gently, you look like you're building a case. I am, I said, against them, against silence. He knelt beside me, picking up a photo from my sister's engagement shoot. You don't have to prove you were wronged. I know, I said, but people like them rewrite history fast. I'm just making sure the ink dries on the truth first. He nodded slowly. Then do it right. No yelling, no threats, just evidence. That night, as I organized my files, I found the voice memo Mom had left Friday. We can forgive this if you reverse the cancellations. I didn't mean to sound harsh. We just need the day to go smoothly. I saved it. Not because I needed her voice, but because it was the sound of someone who still believed consequences were optional. By midnight, my evidence folder was complete. Emails, bank transfers, screenshots, recordings, and now, a forged check number. Everything labeled, time-stamped, undeniable. Tomorrow the whole town would be at church, including them, and for the first time in my life I planned to show up too, not to pray, to tell the truth. Sunday morning smelled like rain and old hymn books. The kind of morning where everyone dresses for forgiveness but gossips and whispers anyway. I parked 2 blocks from St. James Church, watching families file inside in their pastel outfits, clutching purses and secrets. Inside my tote bag were 20 manila envelopes, each labeled neatly in black ink, for your information. Every envelope contained the same thing. Copies of receipts, payment records, screenshots of text messages, and a short note. You deserve to know the truth. Ida Mack. No anger, no profanity, just evidence. I stepped inside the vestibule as the first hymn began. Heads turned. Conversations slowed. It had been years since I attended service here. Mom used to brag that all the church ladies loved her selfless daughters. I walked past them without breaking stride, dropping one envelope per pew like a quiet sermon. A few people refused to meet my eyes. Others took them silently, glancing down at the label like it might burn. One woman, Donna, Mom's closest friend, whispered, "Now Ida, I don't think this is appropriate." I smiled, then "Don't read it," and kept walking. I didn't stay for the sermon. I left as the pastor began his welcome, the sound of my heels echoing louder than the choir. Outside, the air was heavy and clean, like the moment right before thunder. By the time I reached my car, the first text came through. "Dad? What are you doing, Ida? This isn't how you handle things. Sister, are you insane? This is defamation. You're ruining us. Mom, you didn't have to do this. I was trying to protect your sister. You always make everything harder." That last one? For once, she didn't sound angry. She sounded cornered. I saved her voicemail too. Her voice trembling under the weight of something she'd never known before. Consequence. By 11:30 a.m., the envelopes had detonated. Group chats were flooding. One cousin messaged me, "You're trending in the church group." Another said, "People are finally realizing what happened." I didn't reply to any of them. Instead, I opened my laptop at a diner 2 towns over, the same place Mom once called too cheap to eat at. I ordered black coffee and waited. Within the hour, 3 more emails arrived. From the florist Valerie. "For what it's worth, I posted a statement confirming you canceled everything properly. People should know the truth." From the DJ. "Thanks for the heads up last week. You saved me a nightmare." From a vendor I barely remembered. "Just saw the screenshots. I'm sorry they treated you like that." I leaned back in the booth. It wasn't revenge. It was reclamation, taking back my name from the narrative they'd built. The bitter daughter. The unstable sister. But the storm hadn't passed. At 1:47 p.m., Evan's phone lit up. He frowned and showed me the screen. Nina. His ex. The message read, "Hey, I just wanted to check if Ida's okay. People are saying she's been posting private family stuff online. If she's spiraling, maybe she needs help, not attention." I laughed. Bitter and low. She never misses a chance to play savior, does she? Evan shook his head. "Ignore her. She's trying to bait you, I know." I said, "But she just handed me something better." I pulled out my phone, took a screenshot of her message, and saved it in a new folder labeled Deflection Attempts. Because people like Nina always show up when the truth threatens their audience. They perform empathy while craving drama. And my family adored performers. That night I got one more call from Aunt Lorraine, the one who usually mediates. She didn't sound angry. Just tired. "Ida, I know this looks bad, but your mother's heart is broken. She says she didn't mean to exclude you. That it was just a misunderstanding." I laugh softly. A misunderstanding doesn't come with forged checks and canceled venues. Silence on the line. Then she said quietly, "For what it's worth? I believe you." It was the first time anyone in my family had said those words to me in 10 years. When the call ended, I sat in bed scrolling through the folder of saved proof. The text. The invoices. The voice notes. It wasn't about destroying them anymore. It was about reclaiming my voice. The one they'd mocked, ignored, or silenced every time I dared to speak truth. Before I slept, I sent out 3 final packets. Not to family, but to place his mom never thought I'd reach. Her landlord, notifying that I would no longer be covering her rent. The charity board she chaired, with proof of the fraudulent check under her signature. The bridge club president, the one who loved telling everyone about Mom's generosity. Each envelope ended with the same line. "Integrity starts at home." I sealed the last one and whispered to the empty room. "Tomorrow they'll finally understand what happens when you call your daughter disposable." Monday morning, sunlight sliced through my blinds like an accusation. The town was already humming. By 8 a.m., my phone was a storm of notifications, missed calls, texts, and one particularly frantic voicemail from Mom that began with, "You went too far," and ended with, "Please just call me." I didn't. I brewed coffee instead. The taste was sharp, almost metallic, like clarity. The fallout had started. The landlord called to confirm receipt of my letter. I could hear the polite discomfort in her tone when she said, "Miss Mack, your mother seemed surprised." She said she thought you'd keep paying. I replied simply, she's mistaken. Pause. Understood. Thank you for letting us know. Then came the Bridge Club president's email. A woman named Estelle who prided herself on moral reputation. Ida, thank you for your honesty. We're reviewing your mother's position on the board. I'm sorry it came to this. Next, the charity board reached out. The financial discrepancies you sent will be investigated. You did the right thing. 3 messages. 3 walls of her carefully constructed image starting to crumble. I didn't feel joy. Just a strange, settled quiet. This was never about vengeance. It was about truth. By noon, I got a message from Derek, my sister's fiancé, or maybe ex-fiancé by now. Your mom's been lying to everyone. We're postponing everything indefinitely. I'm sorry for what you went through. Then another line. Your sister's devastated, but maybe it's time she learns what accountability feels like. I stared at that message for a long time, unsure whether to feel vindicated or sad. Maybe both. Later that afternoon, Dad called. His voice was heavy. Older somehow. Ida, this has gone public. Your mom's humiliated. You proved your point. Enough. I closed my eyes. I wasn't trying to prove a point, Dad. I was trying to protect myself. He sighed. You could have just talked to us. I tried for years. You only listen when there's collateral damage. He didn't respond. I heard his breath shake. Then the call ended. Around 5 p.m., Evan showed up after work. He didn't ask questions. Just sat down takeout and held me. You look lighter, he said. I feel lighter. He smiled, brushing a strand of hair from my face. You kept receipts, told the truth, and you didn't break down. That's strength, Ida. But the day wasn't done with me yet. At 6 to 12, I got a notification. A public post from Nina, Evan's ex. A photo of a sunset, and a caption. Some people expose others to feel powerful. But peace doesn't come from revenge. It wasn't subtle. Evan rolled his eyes. She wants attention. I smirked. Let her have it. She doesn't realize peace also comes from blocking people who pretend to be philosophers. I blocked her. 1 click. That small act felt better than I expected. By evening, my inbox had softened. A few messages from cousins saying they finally understood. One from Aunt Lorraine. I spoke to your mom. She's quiet now. Maybe she's finally reflecting. You did what we couldn't. At 8:00 p.m., I decided to take a walk. The air was cool and clean. The kind that comes after a week of storms. Without thinking, my steps led me to the old wedding venue. The gate was still locked. The sign still hung crooked, closed until further notice. Through the fence I could see fallen petals, dead grass, and the faint outline of where the arch would have stood. I stood there for a long time, not in bitterness, but in quiet recognition. It wasn't a grave. It was a boundary line. Everything on the other side belonged to the person they tried to make me. Obedient, generous, invisible. Everything on this side was mine. The woman who finally learned the price of peace and decided it wasn't silence. As I turned to leave, my phone buzzed. A new voicemail. Mom. Her voice was soft, cracked at the edges. Ida, I don't know what to say. You were right. I crossed lines I didn't even see. I thought control meant love. I thought you'd always forgive me. I don't expect you to now. Just, I'm sorry. For the first time, it didn't sound like manipulation. It sounded like surrender. I didn't cry. I didn't call her back. I just whispered into the dark. I forgive you, but I don't owe you access. Then I walked away, past the broken gate, and the echo of what could have been. Voiceover, closing narration. Family used to mean obligation to me. It used to mean handing over my peace for their comfort. But sometimes the only way to save a relationship is to stop funding it. I didn't ruin the wedding. They ruined their integrity. I just stopped paying the bill. The screen fades to black as the sound of slow piano plays. The tone somewhere between melancholy and freedom.